What's up, my comic comrades? We hope everyone had a great holiday weekend, and today we're kicking off the Christmas season with a look at the time Superman became Captain America. That's right, that's something that happened in the Amalgam Comics universe. For those of you who don't know what the Amalgam comic universe is, we did a video explaining what it is right here. But in summary, it's a universe where DC and Marvel teamed up to merge a Marvel character with a DC character, resulting in a completely new hero or villain. So with that in mind, the Captain America Superman hybrid super soldier is one of those creations. But before we dive in, we want to thank Star Trek Fleet Command for sponsoring today's episode. It's the holidays, people, and you know what that means: joining a Federation crew to engage in intergalactic space battles. What? That's right, it's time to get your holly jolly going with the Star Trek Fleet Command. This story-driven mobile game throws you into the world of Star Trek and allows you to engage in real-world open combat alongside your favorite characters from the original series, the Next Generation, the J.J. Abrams films, and more. It's free to play on iOS and Android, so use our link in the description to download the game right now and start exploring the Star Trek universe with Captain Kirk, Spock, Picard, Data, Geordi, Worf, and more. And after you customize your dream crew, you could build and customize your own starship from iconic models of the USS Enterprise, the Klingon D4, and the USS Discovery. It's freaking awesome. You'll then head out into the final frontier on unique story-driven missions, acquire resources, upgrade your ship's equipment, and even take on opponents in the neutral zone. Along the way, you'll unlock iconic characters like Spock and Captain Kirk to give your ship unique powers and combat abilities. You can also join millions of other players to forge alliances and go to battle as a Starfleet, to capture different territories, and even take down classic enemies like the Klingons and Romulans. Fleet Command also gives you monthly updates to constantly keep the story immersive and engaging. So what are you waiting for? If you're a Star Trek fan, like we are, you want to be playing Star Trek Fleet Command. Just click our link in the description and start playing for free right now. And now let's keep the party going with a look at how Superman became a super soldier. The issue starts off with captions from Jimmy Olsen saying, "The space rocket landed in 1938. No one knew where it had come from. Nothing in it survived. Still, the US Army took cellular samples from the corpse within, experimented with them, and by the time World War II began, added them to the experimental super soldier formula, hoping to create a champion of liberty. They injected the formula into a 4F volunteer, one whose name I cannot reveal, and exposed them to a massive jolt of solar radiation. Given what they knew of the alien cells, the scientists had some clue as to how this might affect the test subject, but no one expected him to be granted powers and abilities so far beyond those of mortal men. As we get captions of all of this, we see the crashed ship, scientists experimenting on a man, which leads to the subject becoming a Superman-like super soldier. The comic goes on to say that wasn't their only surprise. They found me in the shadows, eager to make my mark as a cub reporter. Fortunately, we Olsens talk fast. I struck a deal. I wouldn't rat out the project if the government made me the official press flag of Super Soldier." As we see Super Soldier lift a tank above his head with one arm while holding a Superman S-shield in the other. Olsen goes on to narrate, "With my help, Allied troopers and Nazi warmongers alike read of Super Soldier's every move, witnessed his every victory. By March 1942, Super Soldier had all but won the war nearly single-handedly. Until the rise of Ultra Metallo, a mighty robot energized by a mysterious power source, Ultra Metallo made a beeline for Washington, D.C., only to be intercepted over the North Atlantic. As I watched Super Soldier and his foe lock one another in a death grip and plummet beneath the icy waves, never to be seen again." As we see just that, Super Soldier and Ultra Metallo apparently kill one another. We continue to see Olsen as he's typing saying, "America's champion, my friend, was gone," leaving me with the story of the century and an ungodly moral dilemma. Should I report it? My allegiance was to the truth. Journalists deal in facts. And yet I knew what a blow news of Super Soldier's death would be to Allied morale. With Lex Luthor still months away from perfecting the war-ending K-bombs, the Allies had to hold strong. In the end, I made my choice. It was the hardest decision I had to make. As we read a news headline that says, "Super Soldier wins war." The comic then takes us to 50 years later, where Hydra agents have a much older Jimmy Olsen, who they've captured, beaten, and tied to a chair. As a voice says, "What a heartfelt charade, yet the truth will come out. Won't it, Mr. Olsen? Time has a way of eroding lies." Jimmy Olsen then says, "My journals. Do you have my journals?" This mysterious voice responds, "Indeed I do. And now after 50 years, I also have the true story. Ultra Metallo was in fact a success. Almost. After all, Super Soldier wasn't dead, was he? Recently he resurfaced as young as ever, though much weaker. I've long wondered why, and thanks to you, I now have a clue. You won't live long enough to care. That's the price you pay for crossing Lex Luthor. Dispose of him." As we see an old green-skinned Lex Luthor come out of the shadows. No doubt he's green in this universe as a play on Red Skull, but instead of being red, he's green. And don't worry, we find out why he's green later on. Anyway, Lex Luthor lets Jimmy Olsen go and he makes his way back to the Daily Planet. And when Jimmy walks inside all beaten up and bloody, a blonde-haired Kent, who was just getting yelled at by Sharon Carter, the Lois Lane of this universe, asks, "Jim, what happened? Who did this to you? Answer me." He tells them Hydra. They kidnapped me and brought me in. Kent then asks, "Where?" But Olsen just says, 4. Washington at 4. Washington at 4. While handing him a watch. The chief calls the police to get an ambulance for Jim as Kent sneaks out of the office grabbing his suitcase, opening it up and pulling out his S-shield before ripping open his button down, revealing the Super Soldier uniform in classic Superman fashion. Super Soldier then flies off thinking, damn you Luthor, 5 decades. That's how long I was frozen until the JLA found me, thawed me out, into a world without justice. Into a world where I'm gradually getting weaker while you and your secret Hydra cartel grow stronger and stronger. The public thinks you're a recluse saint. Only I know that you were behind Ultra Metallo. That you wanted me out of the way so you could profit from the war on your own timetable. Rather than try to prove it, I went toe-to-toe with your creation armed with an overconfidence that cost me victory and worse, cost the world the chance to be free from your evil for the next half century. That's a shame I'll make up for if it takes me my dying breath. Super Soldier then flies over Washington, D.C. saying, it's 4 o'clock now, but there's no sign of Hydra, none at all. What signal were you trying to give me with your watch, old friend? Washington at 4. He then realizes that the Washington Monument at 4 o'clock casts a sundial shadow directly at that building. He then flies in and is greeted by Hydra agents who he starts taking out left and right saying, what did you want with Olsen? What did you do to him? And after he lays them all out, Luthor pops out saying, they haven't much to say. After all, I'm the mastermind here and you may quote me. Super Soldier says, count on it. I can't believe you'd be caught here, exposed in Hydra headquarters. Luthor says, after a lifetime of posing as a philanthropic recluse, beloved by the masses, it would seem risky, wouldn't it? He continues to say, it must be thrilling for you. I imagine you want to tell the whole world. Super Soldier replies, I can guarantee they'll read about it in the papers. Luthor just says, I hardly think so, as something whacks Super Soldier in the back. And on the next page, we see it's Ultra Metallo. Luthor then says, look at what we've stumbled across last week while trawling the North Seas. Imagine how shocked I was. But then, you probably can't. Once I had Ultra Metallo back, I knew Olsen's 50-year-old claim that you destroyed him was a lie. That he was a more formidable foe than we realized. Olsen's journals told the rest. Metallo is still perfectly capable of carrying out his original objective. At this point, Luthor sends out Ultra Metallo to finish the job he set out to do 50 years ago. Super Soldier then starts to fight Ultra Metallo all over Washington, D.C., while Luthor watches through Metallo's cameras from the safety of his bunker. Luthor also talks to Super Soldier through speakers built into Metallo saying, once before, you fought him to a standstill when you were at your physical peak. Once before. We then see Ultra Metallo knock Super Soldier into some pipes, with him saying, Luthor's right. Something about Metallo seems to sap my powers even further. He's stronger than me, but that's no excuse to give up. If there's a way to outmaneuver him, I'll find it, as he punches a hole through his chest, exposing what's been making Ultra Metallo such a formidable force for Super Soldier. And that, of course, is that he has kryptonite embedded in his chest, or as Lex calls it, Green K. Lex straight up says the robot is driven by a meteorite that landed near the old alien rocket ship. I like to call it Green K, for short. He goes on to say, for the longest time, I didn't know what to do with it. I injected some into my bloodstream, which prolonged my miserable life. Created my K-bombs with the rest, but there's still enough inside Metallo to create the mother of K-bomb explosions, as you'll see. So that's why Lex is green. He injected Green K into his bloodstream, which made him live longer, but obviously has some side effects. Anyway, as Super Soldier is listening to this, he gets up out of the rubble and says to himself, something has suddenly given me a second wind. I don't know what, but I have to take advantage of it. I can't let that bomb explode. He then goes after Metallo once again, but after he tackles Metallo in the back, Metallo just throws him on the stairs of the Lincoln Memorial. As the Green K just continues to weaken Super Soldier, it becomes so much for him that he just has to fly away. And Lex says, beautiful, at last, everyone will see Super Soldier's true colors, red, white, and yellow. Onward, Metallo. But we find out Super Soldier was not running away. He just went to go get some lead pipes, saying, the pipes, the ones I landed in, they were lead. They're what protected me from the K radiation. Now with Metallo pitted like an olive, I could trap the K-bombs inside the lead, as he uses the lead pipe to pull the Green K out of Metallo and toss it away. Of course, with the Green K out of the picture, Super Soldier is easily able to defeat Metallo and Lex Luthor. With Lex saying, no, it's not fair. I've waited 50 years for my chance to take you down. 50 years. Super Soldier replies, that makes 2 of us, Luthor. Let's go. As we see the newspaper headlines say, Lex Luthor exposed, behind Washington attack. Afterwards, everyone at the newspaper like Sharon Carter and Jimmy are celebrating, but Kent is looking out the window saddened, and Jimmy eventually says, Kent, thanks. You okay? He just turns around and gives him a thumbs up while thinking the fallout from Luthor's K-bombs have permeated the world, creating a blanket of radiation that harms only me. In time, who knows what effect it might have. But let it go for now, Clark. Concentrate on the victory. Jim felt guilty for way too long inventing news all those years ago. But now he's more than redeemed himself. Good work, partner. We can both rest well for the moment. Still, the war against Hydra isn't over. Luthor's forces will no doubt rise again to plague mankind. But the day that war begins anew, the front lines will belong to Super Soldier. And with that, the comic ends. There you have it, friends, when Superman became Captain America, as that's essentially all this story is. It's even an official DC and Marvel comic. I love the Amalgam universe, so I thought this was really fun, but what do you guys think? Do you like this take on Superman/Captain America? And do you want us to do more episodes on Amalgam characters like Darkclaw, the Batman-Wolverine hybrid? Let us know down in the comments. And that's gonna bring today's episode of Variant to a close, but if you like today's episode, be sure to check out this one to my left or your right. And if you like all of our episodes, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. It always helps the channel out. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time when I talk about all things comics.